Hi guys, and welcome to Jenny G Dyslexic Me. If you didn't see the video title, this video is about asking for help with dyslexia, asking your teachers for help, making sure you get the help that you deserve, because school is hard and you should be getting the help that you need to help you get through school and help you get the best grades that you deserve. I just wanted to start off by saying you should not feel ashamed to ask for help. If you have dyslexia, if you don't have dyslexia, you should not feel ashamed to ask your teachers for help. It is their right to help you. They are getting paid to help you. It is their job. So if you do feel a bit anxious about asking your teachers for help, or you're like, oh, they're not going to help me, they should help you. And if they don't help you, they're not very good teachers. Okay. So my first tip is about paper handouts in class. So for example, if one of my teachers handed me a paper handout that was on white paper with kind of a bold black text on it and the letters were really close together and it was really kind of squished up, I personally would really struggle to read that. It would use a lot of concentration for me to even focus on the words and kind of read the individual sentences before I then kind of worked out what the text was actually saying in relation to the class. So if that is the case for you, if your teachers give you a handout that you do really struggle to read, or it might just be a day where you've got a headache and it's particularly bad, tell them and they can enlarge the text for you. They can enlarge the text so it's more spaced out, so it's easier to read the words on the lines, and then you actually are kind of taking in the knowledge sooner rather than reading and getting kind of more worked up about the text before you actually kind of take in what the text is saying. And they can enlarge the text, they can space out the text, they can even print out the text on a different coloured paper. So for example, with my dyslexia, I find it a lot easier to read if the black text is on like a cream kind of coloured paper. The colour is different for everyone, so you might prefer green paper, you might prefer pink paper. If you find a particular colour that does work best for you, then you can ask your teachers to print off any handouts they give you on that colour paper. You don't have to ask, maybe like go and see them before the start of the lesson because they might not want to leave the class, it might be quite busy, but say you go and see them at the start of the term or at the start of the year and you say, hey miss, sir, I just thought I'd let you know that I have dyslexia and I find it a lot easier to read the handouts if they're on this specific coloured paper. And if they're able to, they should be able to get that colour paper and just print out a copy of the worksheet on that colour paper for you. And honestly, it will make such a difference because you'll use less energy kind of trying to read the words, and you'll be able to actually take in the information a lot faster. So that is tip number 1. Okay, so tip number 2 is kind of similar to tip number 1. It's about board colour. So the board, if you teach have like a kind of a board with a slideshow on it, you can ask them if they could put the colour of the slideshow background into the colour that helps you to read it best. So again, at the start of the year, at the start of the term, even at the start of the week, you could go up to them and be like, Miss, sir, this is the colour that I can read best with. Please can you put it behind the text on the slides? Because I found if I was at the back of a class, and if you're at the back of a class and you're trying to read a board in front of you, A, it's hard because the words are moving. B, it's even harder if the background is a colour that kind of aggravates the text for you and makes it a lot more difficult to read. And also if people's heads are kind of moving in and out of the frame in front of you, it's really hard to focus on what you're trying to read, especially if the teacher's talking at the same time, if you've maybe got to try and write down notes. So anything that will make your life easier in school, you should definitely grab onto and try really hard to make sure that these techniques are implemented for you. So you can go, sir, miss, please can the background of this board be in the colour that helps me read best? So I would ask them kind of in like a creamy colour. And or if like one day the text is, say, a black background with bright red text on it, then, and you really can't read it on that particular day, just go up to them and be like, please could you just kind of change the colour of the text really quickly on this slide? It'll make it so much easier for me to read it. And they should do that for you because it's not that difficult to change. So that is tip number 2. Tip number 3 is reminding your teachers if you have extra time, because they probably have like 200 people in a year. They might not know you kind of on a one-to-one basis, and if you do get extra time, and if you say told your teacher at the start of the year, listen miss, I get extra time, by maybe second term they might have forgotten, and it's not anything against you, they just have a lot of stuff going on. They might just give you a test one day and be like, okay guys, you've got this hour to complete the test. But if you get extra time, make sure you use that extra time, because it can really give you extra marks, especially if you are really struggling to read the questions. I know in biology they give you kind of big kind of texty questions, and that extra time can really help you to just read over the question again, try and make sure that it's solidated in your mind before you then start on the questions. So at the start of the lesson, before you start a test, just kind of kindly remind them, just be like, miss, I get extra time, just letting you know, is it okay if I stay an extra 5 minutes to get my extra time for this hour? If it runs over the lesson, ask, please can I stay into break time, please can I stay into lunchtime, to make sure you get that extra time, because it is like really useful, honestly. And I'm going to do another video on how to use your extra time wisely, so make sure you look out for that one. But yeah, so that is my 3rd tip, making sure that you ask to get your extra time. If you get extra time, you should get your extra time. The teachers cannot say to you, oh no, you can't have your extra time today. If it is a proper test that can affect your grade in the long run, if it's a test that's going into the system, giving you a mark that could reflect on your report and stuff, you're entitled to your extra time if you get it. So make sure you use your extra time wisely, and as I said, look out for that other video on how to use your extra time. Yeah, so that is my 3 tips for today on asking your teacher for help. So tip number 1 was any handouts you have, make sure if you're struggling that you enlarge the text, that it's put on the colour that you want. Tip number 2 is making sure board screen colours are on the colour that helps you read best. And also another tip on that, on a side note, would be sit close to the board, then you don't have people kind of putting their heads in your vision. It's a lot easier for you to concentrate on the text in front of you. And it doesn't really matter about popularity or, oh, the cool kids sit at the back. Well, if you want to learn, sit in the place that helps you learn the best. And for me, that was often kind of front or middle row. And it really helps. And then tip number 3 was remind your teachers about your extra time if you get extra time. Make sure that you get the extra time in any tests that you do, because it can really help your mark, and it can really help your score, and it helps you feel under less pressure as well. So yeah, that's it for me today. I hope you like this video. If you did, please subscribe, and yeah, look out for more videos in the future. Thank you. Bye.